More disturbing details out today as KAKE News investigates the death of a 6-year-old girl from Rose Hill, and she had been buried in her backyard right in that spot right there for years. Now we've learned of the levels of the alleged abuse from the girl's adoptive mother. KAKE's Nick Nelson looks inside the stack of court documents as we also hear from the Rose Hill police chief who investigated this for months. Nick.
Yeah, Chris, this is the 42-page probable cause affidavit, and this new information comes weeks after police arrested both of Kennedy Schroer's adoptive parents in connection with her death. This affidavit, released on Friday, says police learned about the girl's remains after her adoptive mother threatened suicide. Now, it's worth noting for the viewers at home that the details within are graphic. The probable cause affidavit provides new insights into how investigators say they were able to determine Christina and Joseph Schroer were responsible for the death of 6-year-old Kennedy Schroer, who was born with the name Natalie. On September 10th of last year, police came out to the Schroer home as Christina Schroer was threatening to kill herself. Police found Schroer nearly unconscious from drugs, but did talk. She told them that years before, in December of 2020, she found Kennedy in a box with blankets and other objects piled on top. Christina Schroer then told police after trying to revive Kennedy with CPR and giving her a cold shower, she realized she was dead, wrapped her body in a sheet, and put her in the car. However, the document says Schroer didn't take the girl to the hospital, but instead drove around with the body for several hours. The affidavit also details an interview with one of Kennedy's sisters, who says her mother used the box as punishment. The girl told police her mother would pile objects onto the box to stop a child inside from moving. She says her mother left with Kennedy's body and that her sister wasn't there when she came back. The affidavit also states a worker with the Kansas Department of Children and Families called Christina Schroer shortly before investigators found Kennedy's remains nearly 4 years later. Schroer told the social worker that all of her kids were alive and that her daughters, quote, like to tell stories. The Rose Hill chief of police spoke with KAKE News on Tuesday about the long timeline that led to the charges.
I think that it helps shows the amount of effort we tried to put into finding all of the events that surrounded the death and life of Natalie Kennedy Schroer. It demonstrates the life that was being lived in that house and the experience of the people that were there.
The DCF responded to a Kansas Open Records request from KAKE News on their involvement with the Schroer home. The report shows the department was aware of allegations of abuse and neglect spanning from 2016 to 2018, but says all of the claims were unsubstantiated. Parlier says while he can't comment on DCF protocols, he'd like to see changes in the system so something like this doesn't happen in the future.
I think that it would be fantastic for all persons to look into this, legislators, community organizers, cities, counties, states, and there has to be a better way to do things. I don't know if it requires more money going in. I don't know if it requires more people paying taxes. I don't know what the answer is, but there has to be a better way of doing things than we are doing them currently.
Now, Joseph Schroer was in court today as legal proceedings continue. He's due back in court in April. Now, he is not facing murder charges. Christina Schroer's next court appearance is scheduled in a month with her most serious charge, first-degree murder in the death of her adopted daughter. Nick Nelson, KAKE News on your side.